I am Cocobellah of the People Station 92.1 Choice FM. And can you introduce yourself to the people for me?
My name is Emanuel Cleaver. I represent Missouri's 5th Congressional District in the United States House. I have been there for 20 years. And before that, I was mayor of Kansas City. That wraps up pretty much who I am, what I've been doing.
Well, it's funny because I was born in Missouri. I was born in Columbia, Missouri, actually.
Oh, wow. You're 122 miles away from here. And, the Columbia is the only Democratic spot outside of Kansas City and St. Louis in the whole state.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're worse than Alabama, Mississippi. Really? Yeah.
That's insane. That is insane. So, I don't know. Well, I'm pretty sure that you're aware that President Obama is about to go on campaign with Kamala Harris. We only have 27 days left, and he's about to go and promote with her. So how do you feel about, in the swing states? So how do you feel about that? And for people who don't know what a swing state is, can you kind of tell them what that means?
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm pleased and excited that President Obama is going to become visibly involved in the campaign and supportive of Kamala Harris. I think that that's critically important, and they carry great weight on both sides of the political spectrum.
Yes.
Now, a swing state, which is what Missouri was at one point, is a state that can go either way, and sometimes it'll go red, sometimes it'll go blue. The color in many instances depends on who gets their votes out.
Yeah.
Because the vote could actually go either way. So the swing states become critically important because there are only few of them, whereas the other states are predictably blue or red, and the election will actually be won or lost in terms of what we do in swing states like North Carolina, where we barely lost the last time. And frankly, Georgia is a swing state because it produced 2 Democratic senators, but we have to remember that the Republican governor in that state is very, very, very popular. So that means that, they can put a Republican governor in the governor's mansion in a very, very conservative government in a state that elected essentially 2 very, liberal might be the word, members of Congress, an African-American and a Jewish member of Congress.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So, as far as your role, what is your role as a congressman? What do you do for the people?
Well, as I said, I've been in Congress for 20 years. I have served as the chair of the Housing and Insurance Subcommittee, and that's exactly where I want it to be, because that is the area where America needs to make a lot of progress, because we are all short. No matter where you are, there's a shortage of affordable housing. No matter what city you're in, it doesn't matter what state you're in, there's a shortage. Kamala Harris has talked about the need for more housing. So she needs an ally, particularly on the subcommittee that I have chaired and hope to chair again in January. Because the president can't make any declarations as a dictator could in other countries, countries that other people praise, like Russia and Turkey and so forth. So my job in Congress and the job of all of the other members is to help bring into fruition the president's vision. If we are the same party, in this case, if we have a President Kamala Harris, then I proudly end up taking the reins of the housing vision that she has and trying to usher it through a vote of the House, and then everything that comes through the House has to be also approved by the Senate. Mm-hmm. A lot more difficult sometimes in the Senate. And then the president will have her way, and that is signing the legislation. So, we have this government system that, the legislative body does the legislation. The president, who can call me on the phone or call somebody in Ways and Means and say, look, I'm interested in doing this and this and this and this. And so then the challenge for me is to get it through. There were three committees in the House that put together what we call Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. And so the president said, this is what I want. And so then the House implements what the president wants. Now we can do independent things too. I mean, we don't have to just wait on things that the president would send.
Right.
So we are the legislative body, there's the administrative body, and then, of course, we have the executive branch, the president.
Well, I've always thought that the Senate and House were the meat and potatoes. I always call that is the school board. There's a principal, but the school board really makes the rules. So that's very important that we vote. So how is your campaign going?
Well, fine. Let me just say, I'm gonna steal this, your analogy. School board. I like that. So when you hear it again, just pretend you had never heard it before. So I can assure you, I'm going to use it.
It's funny. I've said that to many people because a lot of people are completely oblivious to like how it works. Like civics was not their forte. And so basically it's like the president, again, is the principal. Does he enforce? Absolutely. But the school board is the people that make the rules and say what it is. And so, it's very important to elect people that you want in these positions because they ultimately can be the up or the down in the situation. And so, you can steal it. You can steal it.
Yeah, I got it. And I have stolen it.
That is mine. So, another question I have for you is, I'm pretty sure that you watched the debates, the VP debates. Is there anything that stuck out to you in regards to the vice presidential debate?
Well, I know Tim Walz. We served together, worked together for 10, 12 years. I can't remember now. And so I know him quite well. And without knowing that he was going to be selected as the vice presidential nominee, I had him here in town about 3 weeks before he knew, or anybody in the world knew that he was going to be selected by Kamala Harris. So I know him well. He did very well. He is what you see. I mean, there's no tricktivity. There's no pretensions. I mean, here I am, take me like I am, or leave me. And that's the way he was in Congress, which is why everybody liked him. And he was straight shooter. One of the things that can make you an outcast in Congress is if you tell somebody you're going to do something, vote a certain way, and then you go the other way. If you're going to be there 1,000 years, you will never escape that label that you can't trust so and so. Timmy Walz, I guess I got to quit calling him Timmy, but Governor Walz is a good guy. Now in the debate, I would like for him to have challenged the senator, Senator Vance, a little more. Senator Vance, has adopted a couple of his presidential leader has, which is lying. So he said a number of things that were actually not true. And I think Vance, doesn't believe what he's saying on those debates either, or either he has no beliefs at all. Tim Walz did a good job. I think when at the end of the debate, when he raised the most consequential issue that I think should be raised in this election, he said to Vance, did President Biden win the election? And Vance, as of today, he hasn't answered the question. He would not answer the question because he was actually doing that debate for an audience of one, Donald Trump. And if he had told the truth,
right,
he would have been gone the next day.
Absolutely.
Donald Trump would have dumped him. We've had almost 100 different courts that Donald Trump went to trying to stay in the White House. Republican and Democratic judges all ruled that all the things that he was claiming could not be proven in court and were not true.
Right.
And so I think that Governor Walz handled it quite well on that question, because now that's one of the issues out there. We knew that Vance knows that Trump lost the election. Trump knows the election he lost. His daughter, his puppies at his house. I mean, everybody knows that he lost, and he just can't. He just doesn't want to admit it. And so, yes. Ultimately.
So I have a question. With all of the lies, the clear lies, the lies that have been validated, how do we, as voters, some people, like sometimes some of these people have never voted before. There are people that I met at another event that were like 40 plus years old and have never voted, and this will be their first time voting. How do we get past the lie? Because some people, if it's said and it's repeated, it becomes the truth. So what do we do when we hear this information? How do we research it on our own and not just listen to CNN or CBS or ABC? To ensure that we're getting the right information, because I do feel like sometimes in these positions, in these debates, people say things that they can't do. They say things that they don't have the power to do. Mm-hmm. How do we combat that? Like I said, as voters, to realize what's real and what's fake?
Well, you hit it right on the head. One of the great challenges of this moment in history, and I don't think we've had one like this. There's never been a moment like this in the history of the United States, maybe in the history of the world, where a person lies, knows that he is lying, and then continues to tell the lie, realizing that if he can continue to tell the lie, some people are going to believe it. And I think the only thing that we can do to counter that, number one, is to find a source that we trust, who can then present the facts, whether it's a minister or a close friend or somebody, one of your high school teachers, somebody that you appreciate and trust, who will tell you, because if they believe that people in Springfield, Ohio, are eating their dogs and cats. And believe me, there are millions of people who believe that now.
Who believed it, yeah. People were staying home in fear. And not to cut you off, but how do we combat that? Because they're spewing hatred and they are inciting violence on people. How do we combat that? Is there a way to combat that other than voting, which is absolutely important? But how do we get past that, as far as is there like a rule or something in some congressional book that would prevent them from saying certain things?
Yeah, unfortunately, because we get hurt because we're a democracy and we believe in freedom of speech. And I don't think when the framers of our Declaration put that together, put that great document together, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, they never envisioned a professional liar
Yeah.
Who works up, who gets up in the morning and figures out all the lies that will be told before he goes to bed.
Yeah.
And he stays up late, so the lying goes way past 8 hours. It's going to take work for people who, unlike you're in the media. People know. I mean, people will listen to your voice and say, "Oh, well, I'm all right now."
Yeah.
With this, but I think everybody needs to talk to somebody, and it would be helpful if they're an elected official. They can come to talk to and say, Donald Trump said that he was going to stop the war in the Ukraine. Overnight he could stop that war, and I think you have to. They've been at war, Russia and the Ukraine, for over a year, and on day one, Donald Trump says he's going to stop it, and either he's lying or he's delusional, and so I think that we need to, if we can just have people look back in history and ask, has one person ever stood up and said, "Oh, all right, it's over," like a referee in a football game.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, it's over, it's all over. And so some of the TV networks are pure. NBC, ABC, CBS. When I say pure, what I'm saying is they're non-cable channels. You have a little less rigidity from the Federal Communications Commission.
Right.
If you're with cable, you can say things that if you say it on network TV, you get fined and you could get kicked off, close down ABC if they started, leaning on one side or another. So I think you can expect the news on ABC, CBS, and NBC to be pure. In other words, they just report it. They don't lean one way or the other. They just report. So that would be, for example, my daughter likes to watch the 6 o'clock national news, that comes on NBC, and then she'll have the news. Then she'll look at MSNBC and CNN, and then she knows she got pure news on the networks, and so now they not only give her the news, but they will give her a way to look at that news. Here's a way you can interpret what they just said on CBS.
Right.
And so I think a lot of maybe not a lot, but there are people who go first to the networks.
Yeah, I know a lot of people. When I want to know what's going on, that's what I do. I definitely go to the news to see what's going on in the shade room.
Yes.
But I think that the people appreciate people like yourself who have been, who have kept their word about what they say, what they're doing, and they're I know here in Raleigh, North Carolina, they're building everywhere. I'm saying it's new complexes popping up on every corner, and a lot of it isn't affordable. So it's wonderful to know that people are out there trying to make sure that everybody can have a certain type of lifestyle, And the next question that I have for you is when and if, because I'm manifesting, but I don't know if I'm supposed to say that one here. When and if Kamala Harris wins the presidency, what do you think should be the first thing that we focus on to get us back on the road, the path of success?
Well, normally I would not say immigration, but because there have been so many lies told around immigration and including that which is being done now with Haitian people, which
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is puke-worthy things that are being said.
Yeah.
But I think, the immigration bill that Donald Trump told the Republicans to vote against, even though they created it, if we are able to get the necessary votes on the Senate side, I think we ought to pass that first thing we can. The first door that's open, we ought to put that through. The other thing would be, I think she's talked about housing, and talking about helping with down payment and down payment assistance, and that's the only way many African Americans are going to be the recipients of generational wealth. I mean, my grandpa didn't have any money. I mean, I think he had $300 when he died, and but he left land where his house was, and so if you put a house on a piece of dirt, and your children, and then their children and their children are able to move on that property, that's generational wealth, because God's not making it a new dirt. So we only have what we see.
Right.
And so I think she'll move on that. She's talked about it, about her mother raising two daughters, and they got their first home, and how they were just jumping with joy and excited, and I think people still do that, jumping with joy, getting in a home. So the first two, immigration and affordable housing. Although she's going to have to deal probably with the Middle East, what's going on with Israel and Hamas, and now Lebanon.
You're right.
And so I think she's going to have she's not going to have much of a honeymoon. She's going to have to go in and go into go sit behind the Resolute desk in the Oval Office and start cranking it out. Yeah. So I'm hoping to meet with her early on to deal with the house and find out what she will embrace when we deal with housing.
Well, I know that I've been enjoying this conversation, but I know you've got things to do. And so how can somebody, if they're in Missouri and they want to talk to you about housing, or they want to talk to you about things of that nature, how can they reach you?
Well, they can call my office here in Kansas City. I have actually an office here, and I have one in Independence, Missouri. And then, of course, my main office in D.C. I think they could call the Washington 202-225-4535. We are in Kansas City. It's 816-842-4545. I designed the phone number so people could remember them.
Yeah, those are.
842-4545. And most members of Congress did have, sometimes monthly meetings out in the community or on street corners. But then one of our colleagues was shot.
Oh my God.
And 6 people were killed at one of her meetings in Arizona.
Oh my goodness.
And so most members, and with the recommendations from police departments, kind of curbed, going out trying to be as accessible. So but I think most members, if they're serious and genuine, they'll visit with people and talk with them about the issues. I go around. My father died in December, 101 years old.
Wow.
When I first got elected, he said to me, and I've said it 1,000 times to my friends and supporters. He said, "Son, you grew up. We had lived in a house without a bathroom and indoors. Then we moved into public housing, and we got our own house." And he said, "I never want anybody to say that you didn't have time for them or you brushed them off. And he said, I don't care what else you might be able to do legislatively. He said, to me, I want you to always be available to people. And he said, I don't ever want to hear somebody say, I tried to talk to your son, but he told me he was busy. So I have tried to live like that.
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate you taking your time to talk to us here at the People Station. And
yes.
I don't know. Oh, and then this is completely, do you know Mary Ratliff from Missouri? By chance. Mary Ratliff. She was the president of I believe, the Missouri chapter, the Columbia chapter of the NAACP.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody does. Everybody. Oh, wow.
On my mama's side. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She was very, 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 very active.
Yes.
For a long time. I don't think she's still with us, though. Is she still here?
She's still doing stuff. It's not as much as it used to be.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to tell her I talked to you.
Yeah, I haven't seen her in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I first got involved in things here, I went to Prairie View in Texas and moved up here. And so when I first got involved, she was very active with the NAACP, along with a woman named Julia Hill. They were very, very active together.
Yes. Well, I was like, listen, I think I know he know my Aunt Mary.
Oh, yeah. Please tell her that I said hello.
Absolutely. Well, like I said, I thank you so much for taking your time and talking to us. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I'm sure the people will as well. And you gave us some tidbits of information. And before we go, can you tell us why it is important for us to vote this election?
Well, everybody has to vote. John Kennedy became the president of the United States by 126,000 votes. Now, 126,000 votes would be good if we were talking about Texas or Missouri or North Carolina. But 126 votes nationwide means that one vote in every voting precinct changed that election.
Absolutely.
126,000 people stretched from the East Coast all the way to Alaska. And a precinct is where you go to vote. Mm-hmm. And that means one vote in every precinct would have changed, made John Kennedy the president of the United States. One vote in every precinct.
Absolutely.
And so everybody's vote counts.
Absolutely. I've been saying that all day. I said it yesterday when I was at Shaw U. Everybody's vote counts. And guys, make sure if you are not registered that you register to vote. In North Carolina, we're giving out free IDs. So there's no, and those things $25. They used to be. So yes, but I thank you again. And this is Cocobellah, and this is Congressman Emanuel Cleaver, and we're listening to the People Station 92.1 Choice FM.